Welcome everyone to our mid-season showdown here at Psycho Turtle in Pico Rivera, California. I am Dennis Geisler. That is Pikachu. You know that. You don't even need the bottom bar to tell you. And we're about to get underway. Our first round of this mid-season showdown. Lots of championship points on the line. And we are going to get in our first round of Swiss between two seniors. We have John Moses and Charlie Kim here on stream for you. John with the Incineroar, Urshifu Single Strike, Glimmora, Landorus Incarnate, Fluttermane, and Rillaboom. Charlie with Farigiraf, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Urshifu Single Strike as well. Iron Bundle, Ursaluna Blood Moon, and Iron Hands. Lots of interesting picks here. A lot of solid choices to go for in this early game. Not a lot of physical attackers on either of these teams, and it is clear Amulet Iron Hand, so that... Excuse me, I just hit the microphone. The Incineroar not going to put in a ton of value here. We've seen it rise as top data Pokemon at Vancouver, tied with Urshifu Rapid Strike, I believe. We're getting underway. Charlie is going to send out Iron Bundle and Ogerpon, and John with the Landorus and Urshifu. Right off the bat, of course, we'll see the Mold Breaker, and this is the Booster Speed. Yes, Booster Speed Iron Bundle. It's bundled with Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, Encore, and Helping Hand. Very utility support Iron Bundle here. Back up this Ogerpon Hearthflame. Another Pokemon we've seen really rise a bit. I believe it was 4 or 5 times in Vancouver top 8. And this one, a little bit more supportive than you'll generally see. Ivy Cudgel, Helping Hand, Follow Me, Spiky Shield. Does have that Ivy Cudgel for most of the damage it needs. Got the early Protect. Iron Bundle going to Icy Wind. Going to drop that speed. This is Sash Urshifu, so it will break the Sash as well. And the Ivy Cudgel aimed into the Landorus. That one's going to be blocked, and that means the Urshifu gets a fairly free hit off here. Drain Punch into that Iron Bundle. Not going to pick up the knockout, but might be able to bring it back to its Sash. Iron Bundle is deceptively high. I don't think it has deceptively high HP. I think it actually has very low HP. It has deceptively high defense. Why it was able to take that hit. But does mean Urshifu gets back up to its Sash. Remember, Sash works if you're at 100% HP, even if you drop below at any point. But now we're back in the same situation. Urshifu is at -1 speed now, so we'll be pretty slow. And Iron Bundle has all the priority. Landorus is going to switch out, knowing that it's probably going to get diced by Iron Bundle in just a moment. Glimmora is going to come in. Iron Bundle's going to Encore, presumably into that Landorus slot, trying to get it to protect again. Ivy Cudgel aimed into the Urshifu, not going to pick up the knockout. Would have actually done it if not for the Drain Punch, and another one comes out. Takes down the Iron Bundle, gets a little bit more HP back. Now Glimmora in here with the Power Herb Meteor Beam available to it. Ursaluna's going to come out on the other end. Ursaluna Blood Moon, Hyper Voice Blood Moon, Earth Power Protect. Earth Power will definitely shred Glimmora, and a Hyper Voice will shred both of them, probably regardless. This Life Orb, as I mentioned, not Throat Spray, so it doesn't need to go for an early Hyper Voice. Of course, this Hearthflame still launching out the Ivy Cudgels, but remember, it does not have a Grass move, so struggle a little bit more getting some of that extra damage off. Glimmora's going to protect. Spiky Shield won't be able to... There are no contact moves, I believe, on the other end. But Ogerpon's going to read that, pick up the KO onto Urshifu. And that'll leave just the Ursaluna to do basically nothing. We saw it was going to go for the Earth Power into the Glimmora. Now some decisions to make for John. Do you go for the Terrastalize your Glimmora, try to avoid the Earth Power? Do you not Terrastalize it, try to avoid the Hyper Voice or the Blood Moon potentially? How do you try to do damage to this Ursaluna Blood Moon? You don't have any super effective moves here. Ursaluna could Terrasilize as well. 2 Terras available. This Ogerpon as well, it's weak to the poison moves on each of these Pokemon, neutral to the ground moves, but if it Terrastalizes, it's no longer weak to poison, but now weak to ground. I'm honestly not sure if this is a bulkier Ogerpon or not. It's gonna Spiky Shield off the bat, get that free turn. Ursaluna's gonna protect as well, so this is gonna be a double protect turn, scouting for Charlie. John, if he went for the Meteor Beam, it means that the Meteor Beam is now off the table, but it does also mean that this thing's at +1 special attack, and there it is. Glimmora will overflow with space power, pick up that +1 special attack, and not do anything else, aiming the Meteor Beam into the Ogerpon. This Glimmora is at +1 special attack now, does have the ability to do some real damage. I believe we just saw a double protect locked in, so looks like we might get another scouting turn here. We're going to see the Terrastal on Charlie's side. Might be an attempt to read out what the Ogerpon was going to go for. No, it's the Ursaluna that's going to Terrastalize into Terra Normal. Powers up that Hyper Voice and Blood Moon to truly ridiculous levels. But won't do anything here with the double protect as the option. Glimmora has a spiky shield, but we all know that. And the Ogerpon went for Follow Me, trying to redirect and allow the Ursaluna to get even more damage down. Definitely an opportunity to do that again if you are John, or excuse me, if you're Charlie. The play is now kind of seen, but doesn't make it any less destructive, I would say. I'm gonna see the Ogerpon actually go for the Ivy Cudgel onto the Glimmora. That is physical damage, so it'll activate... Ooh, the critical hit there. I was gonna say that did quite a bit of damage. We'll activate the Toxic Debris for whatever comes in. Nothing is immune to that, and the Earth Power just straight up KOs the Ursaluna. Does have fairly low special defense. I have been worried about that a little bit, but that really just shredded that thing. And the Glimmora Sludge Bomb will also pick up the one-hit knockout. Ring the bell twice. 2 knockouts for John in 1 turn. He's feeling good now. 1 more Pokemon left for Charlie here. Looking like John is going to pick up a win here in game number 1. The Iron Hands is the last Pokemon. This Iron Hands is Terra Stellar. With Clear Amulet and Electric Terrain to set up its own. Got the Fake Out Wild Charge and Close Combat as well. And is now poisoned, is now on a timer. It's not looking good for Charlie to make it out of this one, and he will cancel that one. John will pick up game number 1 here for our first round of Swiss at our MSS. Both these players are senior division, so competing with each other for the senior division points. I believe they're the only 2 seniors here today, but I don't want to make that claim for sure because I didn't look at the sheet. I didn't actually think that hard about it. In any case, we're going to get underway for game number 2. Big thing for game number 1, it felt like Charlie didn't necessarily have a ton of damage just available in what was going, and that John was just able to find a couple of small instances where, okay, yeah, the Urshifu was able to get off a couple of Drain Punches and take down the Iron Bundle, and then the Glimmora was able to get its +1 for free. It wasn't able to Meteor Beam, but it was able to get the +1 for free. And that, specifically the Life Orb, Sheer Force, Earth Power from Landorus, picking up the one-hit knockout onto the Blood Moon Ursaluna, is a very important I don't know how to put it. It's a very important damage threshold. So we'll certainly see how this progresses from here. John taking some notes here. Wonder if we'll see the Ursaluna Blood Moon again. It definitely exerted a lot of pressure, kind of visually. It felt very important, but ultimately, the fact that it drops to Earth Power so quickly is probably a sign that you don't necessarily want to see it around again. For game number 2. John looking for a quick 2-0 victory in round number 1. Charlie looking to pull this one back. I need Farigiraf Iron Hands this time, totally switching things up. And on the other end, Urshifu Landorus. So this is kind of a Trick Room setup. The Iron Hands isn't exceptionally slow, but it is pretty slow compared to everything else, and so is the Farigiraf. Farigiraf does have Trick Room, Dazzling Gleam, Helping Hand Protect. Iron Hands does have Fake Out to try to help get up the Trick Room. It can also go for the Electric Terrain to get its own attack boosted, as that will be the boosted stat by Quark Drive. We're going to see the turn 1 Terra as well. Charlie really looking to change things up quite a bit this game. Going to be the Terra Fairy Farigiraf. Really improves the defensive profile, especially against that Urshifu single strike, although it does have Iron Head. It's able to read this. This could be a big turn. Need to Fake Out into the Landorus. And the Wicked Blow, indeed, into the Farigiraf. Not going to take a huge chunk there. And that means that the Trick Room does get up. And the speed advantage is now firmly in favor of Charlie on these Pokemon on the field. Iron Hands could go for the Electric Terrain here and could allow the Farigiraf to get a Dazzling Gleam off, which would be pretty big damage against the Urshifu, a little bit more of a chunk against the Landorus. Landorus is kind of frail. Feels frailer than I thought it should be. Although Iron Hand's Fake Out does do a lot of damage. This is a big attack guy. See, Farigiraf will go first. Dazzling Gleam going to bring down Urshifu to Sash, do a pretty solid chunk to Landorus as well. And Iron Hands will get the Electric Terrain up. There is no way to overwrite the terrain, I believe, for John. No, there is a Rillaboom. We don't know if it's in the back here, but the Electric Terrain is up, is what we know, and that means Iron Hands does have the boosted attack. The Earth Power comes through. It's going to one-hit knock out the Iron Hands. And that Electric Terrain not going to come in too handy when you are getting bursted down by such a strong Pokemon as Landorus. And the Iron Head does get a nice little chunk down onto Farigiraf. Although it will activate its Citrus Berry, bringing it back up to a little under half HP. And is the Ursaluna in the back here? This Ursaluna is a little faster than I would have anticipated, but this does now mean that Charlie still has that speed advantage. So Urshifu does not have Protect, despite being a Focus Sash variant. That's how it got the Iron Head. So a little unlikely to get through this turn against these Pokemon. Landorus does have the Protect, and we'll lock that in here. I'm going to try to stall out this Trick Room. 3 turns remaining, I believe, if my math is to be believed. Which it isn't always. Dazzling Gleam will pick up the knockout, do that 1 damage against Urshifu. And once again, Ursaluna Blood Moon will sit there with its funny looking face and not do anything. Roar! Big Ursaluna Blood Moon fan. Talking to some of our competitors about it earlier. It's such a fun Pokemon. Gonna be Glimmora coming in the back here. And that does put us in an interesting spot here. This Ursaluna has to feel pretty safe going for a Hyper Voice here. worst case scenario is you get hit by Glimmora doing something. Pretty certain a Hyper Voice would knock out the Landorus, and that's the key the key target for this Ursaluna right now, I think, because of the Earth Power incident in the previous battle. I think we got a caster battle earlier between Arnie and our good friend Gucci-san. I believe Gucci-san won. It's pretty funny. Glimmora is going to Terrastalize into the grass type. That could be dangerous if this is a Hyper Voice from the Ursaluna. It just might be. There's the helping hand. Ursaluna does go for the Hyper Voice, going from a resist to a neutral hit. And that is going to be a big two-hit, big double knockout. And now just the Flutter Mane remaining, and it looks like we're going to head to a game number 3 here. Very nice change-up from Charlie. Go for that Trick Room setup. And that will most likely put us into a game number 3. This Flutter Mane fell out for a little while, but not all too long. The switch out. Iron Bundle comes in, I believe. Bundle, I can find out actually. Bundle does not, in fact, outspeed Flutter Mane. Blood Moon will hit the Ghost type regardless. That is the benefit of playing that Ursaluna, and this does bring down the Trick Room. So it is normal speed tiers, but I don't think that this Ursaluna is going to much appreciate. Yeah, I will absolutely take that Dazzling Gleam. The Encore to put it back into Dazzling Gleam. And the Hyper Voice, not going to knock it out just yet. There goes the Electric Terrain. And Quark Drive wears off, but the Booster Energy activates now. It'll take a long moment before we get into that, and it is locked into Dazzling Gleam, so all that can do doesn't knock out the Ursaluna, and the Iron Bundle Freeze Dry will bring us to a game number 3 for our seniors here today. Oh, there's cookies. Somebody made cookies. Yeah, what's in those cookies? Talk to Taryn about it later. And if you want cookies, I can't promise you cookies if you come to events here, but our next one here is on April 20th. We have events on April 20th, April 21st, and April 27th. That is the rest of our Regulation F slate. And we've got a couple in May leading up to the LA Regionals, which I don't know, if you haven't signed up for already, you should probably get on that. I don't know if you still can. I don't know if they've reached the cap or if they've expanded the cap or anything. I'm signed up as a spectator. I'm just hanging out. Game number 3 going underway here. Game number 2, Charlie kind of dominated with that Trick Room setup. We'll see if John has a good answer to that. For a draft, Terra Fairy getting that free turn was pretty big. But does Charlie want to go for the same thing that might be a little bit more easily read? We are going to find out, I suppose. We will, in fact, get underway. Game 3 in round number 1. Already got a pretty good one on our hands. It's going to be the Iron Bundle Ogerpon lead, so a fast lead again for Charlie, and it's going to be the same lead as game number 2, Urshifu Lando for John. And game number 1. It's actually been the same lead all 3 games. The Landorus and Urshifu switched up in game number 2, and it tricked me. So once again, this Iron Bundle does seriously threaten both these Pokemon. We saw in game number 1 a Landorus Protect and Urshifu Drain Punch onto the Iron Bundle. I feel like that's kind of readable at this point. It is the Landorus Protect again. If this is a either double into the... we see the Icy Wind. I believe if it hits the Urshifu... It does not hit the Urshifu. You can tell Charlie a little disappointed at that one. The Ivy Cudgel does go into the Urshifu correctly, but it does not pick up the knockout. Iron Bundle will get hit pretty hard there and heal up Urshifu just a touch. That is a rough miss here. Urshifu is still in range for Ogerpon. And Bundle does have the option to go for another Icy Wind if it wants. This is Terra Steel Landorus. I did not consider that until right this second. Don't usually see that, but in this situation, it's good and bad. Some number of minutes remaining in this one. I can't tell. It was blocked by the overlay. See the Terra here from John. This is the Terra Steel Landorus. Does make it weak to the Ogerpon Ivy Cudgel now, so have to watch out for that. Probably want to get rid of the Ogerpon this turn. Probably get the double KO this turn is the ideal for John. Icy Wind comes out again. Is going to slow both of these Pokemon. Does do a teensy chunk to Landorus and gets the slow on both. What will be the option from the Ogerpon? Does Ivy Cudgel into the Urshifu again, going to pick up the knockout. That does leave the Landorus unchecked here, and it will Sludge Bomb into the Ogerpon. That should pick up the knockout. Indeed it does. Ring the bell. One-hit knockout. Ding ding. And that does take away one of the primary counters to this Landorus, although if Urshifu is actually what comes in here, and it's going to be Rillaboom on John's side. Rillaboom's Takeout probably won't knock out the Iron Bundle, but Grassy Glide probably will. And on the other end, Urshifu, that close combat's going to do a lot of damage to Landorus at this point. And with a Sash, you don't have to be too nervous about what you're doing with the close combats. Landorus is actually going to switch out. The Glimmora, I believe, is what switches in here. Urshifu will detect. It'll be a scouting turn. Might be just straight up scouting for the... No, it's the Grassy Glide into the Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle gets taken down. Not just going to... Oh, the Iron Bundle does not have a Protect. So that's why it didn't Protect, because it doesn't have it. And Ursaluna will be the last Pokemon here. Not a great spot to be in if you're Charlie. Urshifu does good damage, but not good enough, and Ursaluna is going to get hit pretty hard by anything here. Terra has not been used yet, so this could be a good point to Terra the Ursaluna. Potentially try to go for a big Hyper Voice, or even a Blood Moon. This is Miracle Seed Rillaboom, not that Assault Vest variant. Let's have U-turn though. Could be the turn that decides things. It's going to be the Terastal here from Charlie. Right off the bat. Probably going to be that Terra Normal. No, it's going to be the Terra Dark Urshifu trying to boost the damage there. And I believe 1 minute left. A little low on time, but this should be what decides things. Spiky Shield from Glimmora. Of course, the Wicked Blow will hit through that. And that Wicked Blow does come out. It is into the Glimmora. It's going to do a one-hit knockout onto the Glimmora. Good damage there. Toxic Debris gets up, but definitely worth it there for that benefit. Bring the Landorus back out. Rillaboom uses the Wood Hammer into the Ursaluna. Is physically bulky, not physically bulky enough. Not going to take that hit. And it is just the Urshifu remaining here. And now it is Urshifu against the world. It should be able to pick up a knockout on whoever it decides to pick. The question is, can it pick up both knockouts? We'll detect first. The Urshifu is going to get by a U-turn there. I guess the question is, I think Urshifu has to get rid of the Rillaboom first. That or stall out the grassy terrain, which I'm not sure how much there is of it remaining. Wicked Blow comes out, gotta be into the Rillaboom. No, it's into the Landorus. And it does pick up the knockout regardless. That's a ton of damage. Does pick up the Landorus there. And the Rillaboom U-turn going to do good damage. Might not actually be enough to pick up with the Grassy Glide. Probably will. If the Grassy Glide is available, which it is still. I think you have to go for the Grassy Glide here if you're John and see if it picks up the knockout. Especially you do have the Miracle Seed. It is, I think between all the boosts, it is higher with the Miracle Seed for Grassy Glide than U-turn. Urshifu will detect. It will stall out most likely that last turn of Grassy Terrain. I think this might be it for the terrain. It could just come down to a question of how bulky is this Rillaboom. Can it take a Wicked Blow, even Terra Dark? At this point, might as well just go for the Wood Hammer and hope. U-turn not going to pick up the KO though. And Wicked Blow comes out first. Will it pick up the knockout by itself? It will. And Charlie will pick up our 2-1 victory in round number 1. Win the Battle of the Seniors. Great battle there. Really, really high level stuff. Better play from the seniors than what I've seen from some of the masters. But great adaptations from Charlie. After game number 1, saw the win conditions, saw what John had done to pick up kind of those early KOs in game number 1 and went, okay, I can switch around that. I can change up my team. I can do stuff different. Just great stuff altogether. We are going to head out for a bit and come back for round number 2. So don't go anywhere.